Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, it is Monday, July 13th, and July is off to a crazy, crazy start. Middle of the summer, pandemic going wild, and look at what we have to deal with in the stock market, up 400 points. We'll get to that in today's stream. Today, I want to talk about fundamentals and technicals, and I want to talk about Bancor, Kyber, and Ren, particularly because I think they have the strongest fundamentals or potential in the entirety of the crypto space. And that is the difficulty we're encountering right now. This has 2017 written all over it, and it's not going to be a problem finding an asset with utility function, an asset that is going to appreciate substantially. What the difficulty is choosing which asset is going to appreciate more. And that brings us to how do we differentiate between a huge amount of assets that have tremendous upside potential. And that is not an easy thing, but that is what I like to do with my fundamental analysis. And that's what I like to talk about with everyone who joins me on the stream. Let's flip the screens. The markets are on fire. Completely irrational. 400 points. Tesla's at 1800. Oh my goodness. Now there's no fundamental reason whatsoever to own any of this stuff. To own Microsoft, Apple, Tesla. There's no fundamentals whatsoever. It's completely irrational, and the technicals are disturbing. They're basically rising wedges, or they're exponential. They're vertical. The volatility, there's no support. There's no technical support, which we'll talk about as we get into the three charts that I have here a little later in the stream. David says he's ready. Yes. James says diving into BNT. Ooh, BNT. The trick right now is to find the good entry, and we'll talk about that. So we have to remember, as things are going to be extremely volatile, the equities markets are through the roof, and the crypto markets, if you're trying to get into assets that are already through the roof, this is so much importance to try and understand how to find good quality entries. Because what goes up very quick can also come down very quick. And that's why it's so much healthier for that nice, stable, rising appreciation, which was not going to happen in a market where you have $6 trillion that the central bank, Federal Reserve, and the Treasury are printing. It's not just unprecedented. Everything about what's going on is unprecedented. Between the damn virus, between the printing of the central bank, between the Federal Reserve three-letter acronyms and these special purpose programs, nothing is normal nowadays. I can't emphasize that enough. So it's very hard to understand what to do, why to do it, how to do it, and the only way we can handle this shit is to talk about it, ask questions, and use rationality, fundamentals, and technicals. Let's dive in. So this market is crazy. Let's refresh this. Ren is really close to flipping. DYDX hit a number 10 on DeFi Pulse. The assets under management are just through the roof. The volume of the value passing through in and out of RenVM is just surging continuously. We're at $43 million in less than 2 months worth of mainnet. This might be the most successful mainnet launch of any project in crypto history. The assets under management are 33, $34 million, give or take. Well, actually, we have it on DeFi Pulse very specifically, $34.1 million. Oh, my goodness. Look at this vertical chart. It's just this establishes trust and faith, and it's a self-feeding process. As more trust and faith is established, more assets will be placed under management, whether it's Ren in the dark node bond or Bitcoin Zcash or Bitcoin Cash that are placed in custody with the decentralized private key management offered by Ren VM, and the volume is just through the roof. Asset value in and out producing transaction fees, the mint and the burn, which encourages more bonding of ren to dark nodes, which further disrupts supply availability, which further triggers appreciation of ren, which creates a FOMO feedback loop to have more ren bonds, and it just, as you can see, it's a self-feeding recursive experience. Juliang says, "Hey Noah, what's up, my man?" Yes, it's always a pleasure. I'm back with a Monday episode, and I love this stuff. Let's go, baby. Digilight says, "In the house." I told the boss I'm taking a break. No time. Let the boss jump in, ask questions. We need questions. We need to prepare ourselves because the dollar is going through serious changes. Brian Brooks wants to change the way banking is handled in the U.S. and and you are either in position and you're going to catch the stream. You're going to throw a raft and float on the raging river, or you're going to be trying to run as fast as you can alongside, or worse off, you're going to be sitting watching a raging river go by. And that's what's going to play out. And the worst position to be in is to be in all dollars and to not have a sense of what's going on here because, paycheck to paycheck, if you're just in all dollars, that's where you're sitting on the side. You're literally sitting underneath a tree playing a Game Boy, watching a raging river go by. You might as well inflate a damn raft and throw it in the river and jump in. Also, Noah, 2 words, Keynesian economics. That's why we are here. Oh, goodness. Economic theory. It's MMT, straight up MMT, and that's a good part of the reason they need central bank digital currencies so they could throw liquidity anywhere they need it in order to get the damn GDP up. That is the biggest shortcoming of what's going on, and that'll lead to rampant inflation, the inflation of consumer staples is if they don't get the GDP up. I'm inclined to think from a central bank perspective that is their number one priority right now. They printed so much they need to ramp GDP. So they need to get liquidity to employment and they need to get productivity going really quick. I'm sure it's a firestorm in some regards. Anyway, if you go to kyber.org/vote, it's the Kyber Dow. This thing just goes up all day long. It is almost at $23 million. Absolutely incredible to see because I sit here staring at the KNC chart. We have been in, it was a descending wedge for a while, which broke into a symmetric triangle, which broke into another symmetric triangle, revealing the larger symmetrical triangle. But for the last 12, 14, 16 hours, we've been inside and outside of the symmetrical triangle. This is fascinating because we've been respecting this in most regards for many days at this point, almost since the beginning of July. And now all of a sudden we're breaking just north and south of it. I don't know what to entirely make of this, but there's one thing I always keep flipping back to, which is the Kyber Dow. And this thing just keeps going up, which is supply disruption. This is deflationary pressure. There is supply coming off the exchanges, which means there is less liquidity, which means there's more volatility, and that very much supports this exacerbated price action. If you combine that with some of my new favorite fundamental analysis tool, which is sentiment.net, absolutely incredible. I'll throw up a referral link if anyone's interested in this product. It's absolutely invaluable to get a big, large-scale fundamental perspective on things. Check this out. Top chart, amount held by top exchanges. There has been an exodus from exchanges. People are withdrawing. They're not trading. So this means the liquidity on exchanges is drying up. And look how it's a bit of a leading indicator because as the exodus from exchanges occurs, it's taken some time for the price to increase. And I think there's an inverse correlation, obviously, at least according to this graph, and that all makes logical sense from a fundamental perspective. If supply is disrupted and there's less liquidity on exchanges and there's positive sentiment like the Dow locking up your assets to participate in voting on the future of the Kyber network, sends the volatility in a particularly appreciative direction. Absolutely incredible to see what's playing out there. Um, Digilight says, "What's up with Cardano partnering with Litecoin?" I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not. I wouldn't touch Cardano or Litecoin. They're not. I. What Litecoin, bear in mind, has the fundamentals that I like. It has decaying inflationary property, so it's consistent with the same thing as Bitcoin and Digibyte, which are the premier UTXO blockchains. You can't be in everything. Don't you can't own everything you want, and don't spread too thin. So for me, I personally prefer Bitcoin and Digibyte positions. Obviously, the vast majority of my holdings is Bitcoin, and I wouldn't. There's no logic to have an excessive position in Digibyte, and I think the same logic would apply to Litecoin. It's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's not a matter of the fact that you want new technology, that you think Bitcoin is inferior, which it is. It doesn't matter because Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and that is the prevailing sentiment. And unless the trend is your friend, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Don't fight the trend. Take your life raft, throw it in the stream, and jump on board because that's the way markets work. My man Digilight, I'll try my best. Uh, where are we? All right, so there's a couple of different. We touched on Ren. Let's look at the chart real quick on Ren. This thing is in a straight up a rising channel. Um, Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. This thing is just respecting this so well. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. I mean, there's a bunch of resistance coming in on the volumes, but this is all short term. This thing changes so quickly. Let's look at the shorter time frames. I mean, we touched on the channel. This is a time where you want to keep a close eye on it because one, if it breaks the channel, this is where you want to be careful. If you're a trader, if you're an investor like myself with a couple of dark notes, I could care less. I have no capacity whatsoever to liquidate my position, nor would I want to, even if there was a substantial break. I've been in this thing since like 6 cents. It's up 300%. Absolutely incredible. Let's look at the shorter time frames at the 5-second, the 5-minute. I mean, if this bounces and we head up around here, oh, goodness. That's 1, 2, 3. That'd be the 4th, 5th, 6th time we bounced off the bottom support of the rising channel, the ascending channel. Absolutely incredible, this chart. Why is this incredible? Particularly because it's coming off such incredible recent appreciation. This is setting so much support. Every time it bottoms, there's support, 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 support. This is support. And if you see a resistance flip support, which is exactly what I think is occurring right now, yes. Look at this in Bancor. So this is potentially a resistance flip support. I believe this was the previous local high. Yes, it was. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Look at this resistance flip support here. If this sticks, if this support sticks here, this was previous resistance, and this would be resistance flip support. And that is so good for long term because that means on the way down there's support. And that gives you a capacity to either assess whether something's going to continue appreciation, a continuation, or gives you a capacity to just assess your position. Would you want to take a short position via some sort of exchange that offers such capabilities, or an exit position expecting further depreciation? Gives you time, and that is a wonderful thing to see in the charts. Same principle with ETH. ETH is ETH. ADA needs a miracle to overtake it. Ethereum is Ethereum. The same exact principle applies. It is a first out of the gate disruption. The momentum you cannot disrupt an ongoing disruption. As I've talked about, it took 20 years for Apple to disrupt Microsoft, for Yes, and Lyft will not disrupt Uber. It's not possible to disrupt an ongoing disruption. There's too much momentum, and it comes down to psychology and the way human beings work. It's just the nature of things. Uh, Cardano will not disrupt Ethereum. Polkadot will not disrupt Ethereum. Cosmos will not disrupt Ethereum. It's not happening. Um, Now, bear in mind, they will gain market share. Cosmos, what isn't China using Cosmos for their CBDC? Isn't China throwing up Link nodes across the country? Because Link is a cross-chain functional Oracle product. So, I mean, Polkadot has everything F 2.0 wants to have, and it's rapidly evolving and developing. Listen, there's so many projects that have so much incredible function and utility. The difficulty we're encountering right now is not finding a project that's going to appreciate enormously. It's which one is going to appreciate more. And that's what I keep reminding myself of when I try and not spread too thin. I'd love to own Cosmos. I'd love to own a fat position in Polkadot. I'd love to have a fat position in reserve rights. Was that Kava and Haven and that's another story. The UTXO chains. I can't stand centralized exchanges, so I don't touch many things that are on UTXO unless I maybe have a legacy historic position. And my master nodes and service nodes, BlockNet, StakeNet, Alquo, Zcoin, those are classic examples. These things are old, 3, 4, 5 years old. Um, so how do you differentiate between a project with incredible utility to find the one that's going to appreciate more? Focus on the fundamentals and the sound money properties. This is absolutely ridiculous what's going on with Kyber. This thing just goes up. This is supply disruption. This is a deflationary asset that happens to be a governance token, just like Comp, BAL, what CRV, the curve token, is going to be, and so on and so forth. The M was the MF token, MUSD. Uh, this is just going to be absolute fire over the coming months. Now look at this volatility. So we're coming off a symmetric triangle, which by every technical analysis definition, a symmetric triangle breaks to the upside or the downside. And this thing's almost 2 weeks old, and it literally broke to the downside and then broke to the upside. What the heck is this thing? I don't really have a sense of what the hell this thing's going to do. So the appropriate thing in this position is to exit a trading position, hold your long position, and wait for another trend formation. Um, if you just got money to throw around, heck, I myself have done it at times. Throw some in. But I that's not that's also I'm not a speculative gambler. I don't like to gamble. I like to protect my wealth. So I've taken most of my trading position. Do I have any trading positions open? I I have no trading positions open at all. I have a Bancor position, I have a synthetics position, I have obviously my red dark nodes, and I have my Kyber position, and obviously I have a variety of other assets as well that are all long-term holds, but nothing that I'm trading the trend because look at this, I can't do anything with this Kyber right now. It's broken the symmetric triangle. Bancor, I have no idea what's going on. This thing obviously broke. Upward on its larger symmetric triangle, and I was in around here, so I closed my trading position probably around this first leg. I probably could have caught the second leg, but whoopie doo, I locked in 20 Ethereum on the first leg. That's can't argue. A win is a win. Do not be greedy. Do not be greedy. Wait for trade formations, trend formations, because look at this. On a short term, this straight up looks like a descending channel. Uh, you don't have enough information to call it another symmetric triangle, but I definitely see a descending channel here. But it's very short-term time frames. That's like only a couple of hours right there. It's about 12 hours. So what you really want is those big breaks. Look at this. It took a couple of weeks. It took a week. Was that a week? 2 weeks for this larger symmetric triangle to play out. But look, if you put your big bet here, and that was the ascending break. That's how you trade breakouts. The prevailing trend for this asset is overwhelmingly bullish, considering the V2 launch that's coming really quick. Absolutely incredible. Let's take a look at the comments real quick. Which coins do you run a node for? No, it's just a lot. Just everything I have is recurring revenue streams, pretty much. If you wanna list Ren, Kyber staking, Loopring I stake, Blocknode Service Node, Zcoins, Znodes, StakeNet Masternode, Syscoin Masternode, 4 Masternode, Alquo Masternode, PolisPay Masternode, Ion Masternode. I got a tiny little calculus Masternode. I don't know what the hell that thing's going to do, but this thing's like 3, 4 years old. Sometimes I just hold on to positions and I don't really think about it much. Synthetics, you meant to SUSD using SNX, and that produces recurring stream of revenue. Bancor is probably going to launch some sort of governance token and staking. They hinted there might be a slight inflationary component to incentivize staking, and that would be incredible. And that's the same exact thing Synthetics does. Synthetics has an inflationary component that incentivizes the minting of SUSD, and that's where some of the gains come from, aside from the transaction fees on the exchange, and that encourages minting, which is a deflationary pressure. So you can actually have an inflationary monetary policy, but a cumulative deflationary pressure if the inflationary monetary policy is used to incentivize this deflationary pressure, and that's exactly what Synthetics, why it's on fire and it's up hundreds of percent. Uh, Digilight on all Bitfinian. Oh my God, Bitfinian. Oh my God, I've been waiting. So many people thought this thing was going to go nowhere, and Bitfinian is beautiful. I mean, they really built what everyone hoped they would build, and I'm sure they're extremely proud of what they did because they were so close, just like so many projects back in 2017 that went nowhere. But these boys really, I'm sure there's no way you get funding unless you have some serious vision. And the planets that they had back in the day, that is some serious vision. And Bitfinian is a critical component of that. They got a lot of fiat on ramps going on, and I think these boys are going to come out swinging. That exchange is beautiful. It is absolutely good. That might be the most beautiful centralized trading platform and I've played with it already, and it is gorgeous, and it makes it if I was going to use a centralized trading platform that doesn't currently have KYC, they don't have KYC for at least small trading positions. That's a great place for if when the volume picks up. Oh my God, I really like what they built, and I'm proud of them. And I'm not just happy that I stuck with them. That's what a speculative bet is. Held them for all these years. So Bitfidian has master nodes as well as was it share pool? So you're able to lock up Alquo and participate in the share pool, which you get the transaction fees. So goodness gracious, Alquo has some substantial potential. The master nodes as well as the share pool is very strong deflationary pressure. Digilight says all that on one computer. Fair amount of it on one computer. A lot in the cloud. I got everything. I've been doing this years, so everything is on lockdown. It's very well secured and backed up and encrypted. And I've done my due diligence. I hope. I think. We can only do the best we can do. James says, does BNT have a hard cap for a number of coins? BNT currently is fixed supply. They contemplated, or they've speculated, or they've put out some ideas of having an inflationary component to incentivize staking of sort, which would be overwhelmingly deflationary because staking is highly deflationary. Supply disruption, and that is exactly what's playing out with Kyber. I mean, watch. Oh, and there it goes. It just goes up. It just goes up. You could watch this all day long, and it just goes up all day long. Let's take a look real quick. Oh, look at this volatility. I've never seen anything like this. The tip of a symmetric triangle literally just pushing outside of it to the upside and the downside. Hey, goodness, this is something to keep an eye on. So, oh my, look at what happens when you pull out the chart on red. This thing is just vertical. It's in a vertical ascending channel. And look at this. We're on the 4 hour. Look at the support. It's bouncing right off support. Let's pull out to the day real quick. What do we got? 12:25. I got 5 minutes. Look at that support. This thing is just. This thing looks great. Ren's a winner. So sentiment. .net. It has wonderful fundamentals. Take a look at this real quick. The KNC holder distribution. Watch what happens. Look at the large bag holders. That's these 1, 2, 3 lines yellow. That looks like a little erroneous. But look at the green, the black, and look at the decrease in large bag holder support, and it's being replaced by the smaller holders. So this is a maturation of the market. The original holders are exiting a large portion of their positions, distributing assets to the majority from the minority, and obviously they're making huge gains. But this is a maturation of the market. The spreading of assets across the smaller holders. And that is a good sign. And frankly, that increases stability, in my opinion. Reduces volatility because now you have a larger user base that is contemplating why they do what they do with their assets at any given time. And the same thing is happening with Bancor. If you take a look at the drops. Well, a lot of people have large positions, 100,000 to a million. Um, yeah, but the big ones, a million to 10 million. I mean, there's only 86 million assets. So frankly, Bancor has not experienced the large bag holder exit yet, albeit there's a very large inflow of small holders. So I think there's a lot to play out with Bancor. Bancor is still about 100 million market cap, I believe. Let's take a look real quick. Bancor has much room to grow as compared to Kyber. Boop, 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 boop. Let's take a look. See. I mean, oh my God, oh my God. Bancor is about to release V2, which handles impermanent loss, and they have a market cap of 85 million. That's a trading volume. Oh my goodness. They have a market cap of 108. Oh, Kyber's in the 300s right now. Oh, Bancor could run 300% to catch up to Kyber, give or take 300%. Oh my goodness. There's some serious stuff about to play out, guys. So Ren, look at the distribution on this bad boy. Drop, drop. Oh, don't worry about the big one. But look at these drops. This is maturation of the market, the exiting of the large holders, the inflow of the small holders. Oh, this is gorgeous to see. And look at this. The amount held on exchanges has plummeted. This is the people are taking it off. They don't. This is supply disruption. This increases volatility. Um, and if you apply the other macro components, such psychological components like people observing that there's gains to be made from dark nodes, this is where this upward momentum is coming from. Absolutely incredible to see. Let's take a look at the comments real quick and we'll end this session for a beautiful, wonderful Monday. Does BNT have a hard cap? Already handled it. Fernando says, hello, congrats for all your work. Just joining now. What's your opinion on KNC for the next few days? My pleasure, Fernando. Thank you. I enjoy this very much. This is uncharted territory. I'm a little uncertain. This is where you exit a trading position, albeit if you're more speculative, more risk reward. This is where you hold the trading position. You are outside of the symmetric triangle. Symmetric triangles either break upwards or downwards. Basically, the relative to the size of their base. This will be a 30% break when this pops. So this thing is building pressure right now. It hasn't broken yet. But what's so fascinating is outside of the bounds, the support and the resistance of the symmetric triangle without breaking. I don't know what this means. This might be like winding a spring that's already wound. I mean, this could break to the upside 30%. I mean, look at the size of this thing. This is a massive base from start to top, and this overshot. Talk about a blow off top outside of the symmetric triangle's bounds. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to recommend. You have to assess your risk reward. You have to assess your risk reward tolerance. Uh, never go all in. Never spread too thin. Protect your gains. Establish trading positions alongside long-term staking positions. And there is no perfect solution to how to achieve proper or optimal portfolio balance. This is all experience. This is all stuff you have to get a gut instinct for. And there is no one that's going to handle it perfectly. Definitely not myself, but the reason I do these videos is to share these ideas. How do you differentiate between 50 assets that are all going to appreciate? You use the fundamental analysis, the sound money principles that I like to talk about so much. And this is how you, because you cannot own everything. You can't own everything that's going to go up. And you can't spread too thin. Absolutely incredible. Craig says, well, James says APAC 1 tomorrow. That's going to be a hell of a burn. This is going to be a hell of a burn. 153 Ethereum worth of Kyber plus $2,600 is going to burn tomorrow. Oy, oy, oy. Craig says, Noah, I hit you on the Twitter with a couple of screenshots. I think BNT has a different support than the top of the previous pattern. Would be interesting your thoughts. Let's take a look real quick. We're running over a couple minutes. Found the support line of BNT for the hourly. First pick is longer term, then close-up shows as being respected pretty well. Would you look at that? All right, so I could run down a little bit. Um, these long-term trend formations, I'd have to look into this more. I'd have to look into this more. I mean, basically, we're running up into V2. There's always pre-protocol launch. You always buy the news, sell the event. So, I mean, look what happened with Ren. Did it happen with Kyber? I'd have to look back at Kyber, but it sure as hell happened with Ren. So, there's no reason to think we're going to have an overwhelming dump pre V2 launch. But I mean, look at all the support that's built up. You got support here, you got support over here. I mean, you clearly got a massive amount of support right here between was it 15,680 and 14,553. I mean, look at all the support lined up. That's what's so incredible. It's up hundreds and hundreds of percent, and there's all this support lined up. And then obviously you zoom out to the macro. I mean, look at this. Look at this thing. And look how far it has to go. Oh, look at this volume. Look at the volumes, the short-term volumes on the right here. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. My man Craig, you got you got a very good eye on the TA, potentially even better than myself. But let's keep an eye on things because I have a feeling that this thing is just getting started. I mean, look at this long term. Look where we are in the big picture. So that's why we have a bit of resistance. We're going to catch resistance on the way up. You got a spike here, and you got a spike back here, back in January. We're already at the price range of January 2019. So we got a long way to go. This is going to be massive resistance back here in May of 2018. And then obviously all-time high back in January of 2018. Oh, goodness. So I'm excited. Keep your eye on things. Do not buy breakouts, everyone. Wait for trend formations. Keep an eye on Kyber because if this thing breaks to the upside, this is going to be one. It might break to the upside tomorrow with the burn because that is explosive. So throw in a 2% of the portfolio as a speculative bet, and that's the whole game. If it breaks to the downside, it doesn't break the bank. If it breaks to the upside, 2% turns into 5% of your portfolio. All right, fine, that'd be a 100% gain, but you get my point. You want small, big wins. Small, big wins change the balance of a portfolio. Absolutely incredible. Fernando says, thanks for the info. I believe in this project. Love all the moves. Kyber, Bancor, Ren, absolutely incredible positions. Take your time. Pleasure. Thank you. Portugal, my man. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's Monday, July 13th. We got craziness going on with Ren, Kyber, and Bancor. Keep your eyes peeled. We're going to have another video tomorrow, as always. Hit me up on Twitter. Bring your questions, and we're going to have fun like we always do. You have a good day now. Peace.